Jelani Day's mother wants to make sure other families of color never have to endure what she went through when her son went missing.
Since the conception of the foundation, I've had about 50 families who have reached out to us. It's really unbelievable.
That's coming up on WGLT's Sound Ideas. Good evening, I'm Lauren Warnicki. On today's show, the town of Normal looks at an $8 million increase in its budget as community growth generates more tax revenue.
I look at it as a kind of a scenario of you strike when the iron's hot.
And the latest edition of McHistory chronicles a high school basketball tournament still going strong after more than a century. That's coming up after a Bloomington Normal news update. This is Sound Ideas on 89.1 WGLT and WGLT.org, part of the NPR network.
Support for WGLT comes from Bloomington Normal Audiology. Hear My Story continues with local patient Paul Brandt.
Since I got the hearing aids in August, it's really been quite a remarkable change and one that I value.
Paul's full story can be found at bnaudiology.com.
From the campus of Illinois State University in Normal, this is WGLT's news magazine, Sound Ideas. I'm Lauren Warnicki, in for John Norton. It's been more than 2 years since Illinois State University graduate student Jelani Day went missing. He was later found dead 60 miles north of Bloomington Normal. Day's case garnered national attention, but his mother says that's not usually what happens when people of color go missing. In this interview with WGLT's Lindsay Jones, Carmen Bolden Day explains how the Jelani Day Foundation is going to change that. The foundation recently held its second annual Jelani Day All-White Remembrance Dinner, this time on National Missing Persons Day.
The foundation was formed due to me feeling that I needed to do something to be empowered and to help other individuals or families because I felt helpless. That is why the foundation was formed. I wanted to see change and equity to ensure that families of color could receive help if they're ever struck in a traumatic situation such as what I've had to endure, that I can help be that linkage to access to media or access to legal help, access just to provide help them to get resources, those sort of things that, like I said, I had no clue as to what I needed during that time. I had no guidance. I just want to be able to provide just a little bit of insight and help to families.
I don't know if you can answer this, but is there a ballpark of how many people have reached out to the foundation that have been in a similar situation?
Oh, I can tell you that I've had more than, since the conception of the foundation, I want to tell you about 50 families who have reached out to us. It is just it's really unbelievable. The disparity is just real. It's like, again, I did not try. It wasn't my goal or my focus to make this about race. Mm-hmm. I'm not a racist person. That's not what this was for. But however, when you can see the disparity and it's blatant, there's nothing more that you can do except to address it. The missing white woman syndrome, it is real. It exists. And for some reason, the media is fascinated with missing white women, but they don't have that same fascination or that same concern for a missing Black male. And it's my job that I now feel that I have to step up to make sure that they realize that there are Black males out here that are valued by their family, they're valued by their community. Mm-hmm. And when they go missing, it's not because of a stereotype that they've placed on them.
You mentioned that one of the reasons for starting the foundation and doing this work is to find a sense of empowerment in the situation. Have you found that?
I don't feel empowered more. Sometimes I ask myself, did I start this too early? But this is one of the things that helps to keep me distracted, because sometimes the realization that Jelani's not here, it hits me really hard because it's still so fresh. This is my second year without my son, and it's not been easy. Just here a couple of weeks ago, I felt like Jelani was still alive and that I needed to go find him. So, no, I don't feel empowered as of yet, because I don't know what happened to my child. And sometimes the work of looking at the investigative part of this, it overshadows the work that I'm doing to help with assistance. So sometimes I'm not even always available to help the families. I'm working on that better because I have to work on having myself in a good space that I'm able to provide this assistance. I do have help that they are trying their best to navigate through this, and as we learn things, to be able to provide assistance. But to answer your question, I don't yet feel empowered.
What are some things that people can do to try to make a difference?
In order for me to be able to help and assist other families and to provide resources and assistance and services and point them in the right direction, or to even have the scholarships or provide the things that we've done for families during the holiday, we need monies. So we're always asking for donations. We're seeking partnerships. We're looking for ways to create and help the foundation to grow. So when I do put those call to actions out there, I want those people to help me, whether it is write a letter, make a phone call, donate. Donate is very important for the foundation. Like I said, I keep on talking about things. And when I talk about things about making the phone call to help advocate for me, those are things with the investigation, but they're so intertwined with the foundation that I don't know how to separate the two. If that makes any sense.
I think I understand, because Jelani's situation is on the front of your mind. Like, how could it be separate?
I can't separate the two. I know that the foundation is an entity by itself. Jelani's investigation is another aspect of that. But at the same time, everything is about Jelani. It's not about me. It's not about anybody else. Everything is about Jelani, and everything is about Jelani's purpose. The foundation is about Jelani's purpose. And when Jelani was here on this earth, walking amongst us, he had a purpose. Jelani was doing things with his life. He was going to be something great. Now that he's not here, in his absence, I have to make sure that purpose is fulfilled. What that looks like this time is that now I have to make sure that Jelani, people are advocated for in his name. And that's what the foundation will do.
That was WGLT's Lindsay Jones speaking with Carmen Bolden Day, the mother of Jelani Day. Carmen says the family was able to add scholarships to the services the Jelani Day Foundation is offering others. 3 $500 scholarships will be awarded to a Danville High School graduate, as well as students at Illinois State University and Alabama A&M University. Jelani Day attended all 3 of those schools.
LGBTQ migrants often face danger at home and in the U.S., and it may become harder to get asylum soon. The story of 2 migrants tomorrow on Morning Edition from NPR News.
I'm WGLT Morning Edition host Ariel Jones. Wake up with Morning Edition tomorrow morning on 89.1 WGLT.
This is Sound Ideas. Good evening. I'm Lauren Warnicki, sitting in for John Norton. Staff at the town of Normal have briefed the town council on the proposed new $223 million budget. The spending plan includes a near $8 million increase in expenditures. In this interview with WGLT's Charlie Schlenker, Mayor Chris Koos explains where the increased spending will go.
Almost all of it's going to go to capital. We do have some new positions that we're also funding, but capital, I think, would be the focus point of that. We're increasing our road investment, our investment in parks. We're increasing our dollars being spent on water main replacement and sewer work. We see an opportunity. Things are pretty good right now, and we can play catch up on some projects that we stretched out during the COVID years, during the recession years. It set us behind, and we're catching up and trying to get ahead of the game while we have the opportunity. We're increasing our road resurfacing budget. We're accelerating neighborhoods that it might have been a year or two before we get to in terms of water main replacement, things like that.
You're also going to spend $3 million on pensions that
Yes.
you hadn't planned on doing without the surplus from extra sales tax, extra income tax, and other growing revenue sources. Is that going to significantly affect the arc of full funding by 2040?
It absolutely will. I mean, you can look at it at a couple of ways. That our goal is by 2040 to have 100% pension funding.
And it's worth pointing out you're only required to have 90%.
Right. As we fund those pensions to that model, those dollars are earning interest, which help bolster the pension. And it really gets us to a point that if we can get to 100%, the pressure on our property taxes, which we use to fund pensions, could go down significantly.
You're also getting more revenue in the property tax category, too, because of appreciation in assessments and the Rivian effect. Is that going to affect the arc of it?
Well, we do it by actuarial. We work with an actuarial firm that gives us a number every year to meet our goal. It's hard to say this is the payment that we need to make in year 5, in year 10, and year 15.
So is the town feeling fairly comfortable it's going to make the goal at this point?
It's our goal. You know, we had some setbacks during COVID and the recession that kept us from being on track. We actually didn't take a pause in payments, but we kind of made a lean payment, well, 1 year for sure. There are a lot of things that could interfere with that, but we're confident that we're moving in the right direction at this point, and that's what we can do right now.
The budget includes what City Manager Pam Reese termed a modest addition to staff to increase customer service. What does that modest addition mean? Where are those people going to go? How many of them are there?
We have new hires. I think 6 is the number. And it really relates to delivery of services. We're hiring some new police officers and police staff. We're hiring an inspections person because we're seeing a lot more activity in the construction market. We're hiring an INT person to bolster the services we're doing there.
This is Sound Ideas. I'm Charlie Schlenker. We're talking with Mayor Chris Koos of the town of Normal. The sales tax has been really chugging along the last couple of years, 15% increase in the current fiscal year and 22% in the prior fiscal year. Is it going to ease off?
We are looking at that. Our financial advisors and finance staff think it's going to moderate. I wouldn't say it's going to drop off, but they feel like it's going to moderate in the next couple of years. You know, I think it's important to talk about, we're talking about, you know, all these revenue increases and that, but, and we've talked about capital improvements, but also part of that picture is what inflation has done and the cost of equipment, the cost of chemicals for water treatment, the cost of materials for street repair, things like that. Those go up too. So, you know, we have to be able to address those increases in costs.
In the recent budget session, this town staff was talking about the ramp up in vehicle replacement costs as one example of that.
That's a very, very good example. We're seeing some significant increases in heavy equipment.
In addition to extra street repairs and extra pension payments, part of the plan for the surplus, the $7.9 million surplus, is to set aside some money for economic development. Anything specific in mind on that?
Not actually. We just want to have a little bit of money set aside as we look at South Uptown coming online or other projects that might need a little assistance that we think is a good project for the community.
So sum up the budget last year, this year, and going forward.
I would say we had a very strong budget last year, and I feel even more confident about this year's budget. And I guess I look at it as a kind of a scenario of you strike when the iron's hot, and it allows us to do some things some things to play catch up on, some other things to accelerate.
That's Town of Normal Mayor Chris Koos. He spoke with WGLT's Charlie Schlenker. Coming up tomorrow on Sound Ideas, hear about plans for a new skate park in Normal. Finally today on Sound Ideas, Illinois high school basketball teams are grinding through the late parts of their seasons as the state tournament approaches next month. In this episode of our series, McHistory, we learn about a landmark tournament in central Illinois that is still going on today.
Genoa Cops County Cage Tourney, 28-19. Hayworth grabs third place on 26-24 victory. Maurice Harling.
When we look at central Illinois, this was really basketball territory, especially in the first half of the 20th century and into the decades after World War II, especially in the smaller rural stretches of McLean County.
My name is Michelle Pazar. I am the Vice President of the Board of Directors of the McLean County Museum of History.
This is Bill Kemp, librarian with the McLean County Museum of History.
Speed is still the kingpin in basketball. At least such is the case in McLean County, as Genoa Community High School, with its 5 speedsters, won the championship of the 29th annual county tournament at McCormick Gymnasium Saturday night.
Basketball is played during the winter months. It's a quiet time on the Corn Belt countryside, as opposed to football being played during harvest time. A lot of these small town schools have very small enrollments, making football difficult to organize. But obviously for basketball, you just need 5 boys.
And they had to meet height in order to bring about their 28-19 triumph over Coach Lane's highly touted Saybrook Quintet. The decision was popular with the overflow crowd.
For many years, the highlight of the local sports calendar when it came to McLean County or the Twin Cities was the McLean County basketball tournament, which started in 1911 and continues to this day. It just celebrated its 112th tournament.
Genoa closed shop Saturday night in order to be on hand to root for its favorites. And it was a happy band of more than 500 from the northern end of the county that left the gym carrying 2 trophies, one denoting the championship and the other being at least temporary owner of the Pantograph Traveling Trophy, which was in possession of Anchor when the tournament opened last Monday.
It is recognized as the oldest basketball tournament in the entire state of Illinois.
Yes, it was speed that settled the issue. Coach Ferry's 5 played a man-to-man defense and covered all over the floor. And as the game progressed, their defense became so tight that Saybrook not only found it impossible to get any shots, but found it difficult to find a man open to pass to.
Initially, there were what are known as intercity schools. That would be Bloomington and Normal, U High, and what is today Central Catholic. That ended in 1929. Since 1930, the tournament is really the exclusive domain of small-town high schools.
It seemed as though the Genoa boys were all over the floor all the time.
The tournament also speaks to rural depopulation in the 20th century and school consolidation.
Although the defense was so outstanding, the offensive play of the new champs was as fast. They broke like lightning, dribbling fast, pulling pretty blocks and passes to work in for short shots.
We're listening to highlights from a tournament in the late 1930s. There would have been no less than 20 high schools in McLean County outside of Bloomington Normal. Only 5 of those communities have high schools today.
They were continually controlling the rebounds at both ends of the court. In fact, they played so fast, Saybrook never had a real opportunity to show its ability.
The smallest communities in McLean County, Cropsey, Cooksville, Anchor, Towanda. They all had high schools at this time. The only community in the county that did not have a high school, Shirley, had a high school outside of its community. So there was Benjamin Funk High School, which served Shirley and the Funks Grove area.
It was a great team that won. 5 men were playing as a unit to win that coveted championship. However, the real money player of the quintet was that guard, Bob Pickett. His defensive work was outstanding, but he also came through when the going was lightest with his basket shooting and ended the evening with a total of 13 points.
The 1939 tournament featured 20 games over 6 nights, and it was held at this time at McCormick Gymnasium on the campus of what was then Illinois State Normal University.
Although they were defeated for the championship for the second consecutive year, the Saybrook team won many friends by their play. They are an exceptionally smart team, and only a red-hot outfit can defeat them.
And it was so big that in 1924, a group of area clergymen lobbied educators to end the tournament because they believed it was playing a role in students not paying as much attention as they should to their schoolwork.
The battle for third place was no ordinary game, as Hayworth won in the final minute of play on a basket by Bert Lott. The score was Hayworth 26, Stanford 24.
Back then, there was only one class competing in the basketball state championship, so small schools would really be eliminated by the time of the regionals. So for small schools in McLean County to hoist the tournament trophy, right, could be the highlight of the season or your entire playing career.
Stanford, however, had a chance to at least tie the count with 23 seconds left to play. Delbert King grabbed the ball, and after dribbling through the entire Hayworth team, missed a setup.
And now the McLean County basketball tournament serves as a mid-season conference tournament, and that includes high schools in Tazewell County and Woodford and nearby Livingston, Ford, and Champaign, because school consolidation has been so extreme that it's not tenable anymore to have simply a tournament based on one particular county.
The McHistory series is a partnership between WGLT and the McLean County Museum of History. You heard Michelle Pazar and Bill Kemp from the museum. Charlie Schlenker produced this episode. Thanks for choosing WGLT Sound Ideas, made possible in part by Bloomington Normal Audiology. I'm Lauren Warnicki. Story help today came from WGLT's Lindsay Jones and Charlie Schlenker. Ryan Toohey edits the show. This is 89.1 WGLT and WGLT.org, part of the NPR network.